Hi, I'm Elia, just a normal human being doing my best to move through the world in alignment, to trust my inner voice and create from that place. This is a podcast where I share what I'm learning. Sometimes I'll share a somatic journey that I made just for you. Sometimes it's a raw reflection on what's moving in my life. And sometimes it's a conversation with someone who I'm learning from. I'm not here to present a perfect path. I'm sharing insights, experiments, and ideas that are helping me live a little better, one day at a time. Let's jump into the episode. Hi, I wasn't planning to record today, but something moved in me this morning, and I knew I needed to capture it. This is one of those episodes that might feel more like a page from a journal right in the middle of a shift, not at the end of it. And so I think I want to start calling these episodes Inner Voice Diaries. So they're not teachings, they're not polished, they're just me sharing what's moving through my life in real time, what my inner voice is saying, what I'm noticing, what I'm learning while I'm still in the middle of it. I've spent a lot of time listening to spiritual leaders and teachers whose lives feel so far away from mine, and people who seem to have arrived at some mountaintop that I feel like I'm not close to. But I'm a mom, I'm blending families, kind of like a mini Brady Bunch situation. I'm in the process of healing trauma, and I'm still figuring out how to make my life feel like mine. And my inner voice has been the biggest key for me. And so these inner voice diaries are what is happening in real time in my life? What is my inner voice saying? How are the pieces falling into place that my inner voice keeps saying that they will? Kind of my own documentation of my life, but maybe even an experiment for you if you're curious to see what does a life look like when you listen to the wisdom that's inside of you instead of what other people think. So these episodes are not about being an expert. They're about being a real person, learning to live from my inner voice. And if something resonates here, take it with you. And if it doesn't, just let it go. You get to decide what is true for you. Okay, so I've noticed over the past few weeks, even when I've been talking to my inner voice, I kind of even use the phrase like banging my head against a wall. Honestly, like the career portion of my life has felt like banging my head against a wall. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because I want all of the work that I do to be inspiring. Like I want to be able to feel fully in my body, fully in myself in every bit of the work that I do. And so I do a few different things. I do some AI consulting. I also have a graphic design background. And now I do some somatic coaching with you guys in this community. And I've been working so hard and kind of like holding so tightly and then feeling like I'm failing, even though I'm not actually failing. But my mind has a story that if I ever get a no, then it feels like this rejection. It feels like, okay, no one wants me. I am not good enough. I need to go get an hourly job. And every single time my inner voice is like, no, don't do that. And it's something that I talk to my inner voice about all the time. And so yesterday, I was really at a low point and kind of at this surrender point of like, I'm literally doing my best in every way that I can, and I'm still not feeling progress. And my inner voice has been saying, your like growth is not linear. And so I just decided like I need to stop and just ask my inner voice, what do I do today? And so the first thing my inner voice said to do was write something. And maybe I will read you guys what I wrote. I haven't screened this yet. It's called The Pause. There's a small ember of hope in me. It lives deep in my chest, quiet, steady. My inner voice said, she is hope. Even now when things feel stuck, especially around money, she's still glowing. There's a knowing inside me that it's going to be okay. But day to day, It's hard. I'm doing the inner work. I'm taking the aligned steps. I've invested in support, and I'm building the thing that I believe in. And financially, sometimes it just feels like it's not landing at all. I know that this isn't the whole truth. I know my mind is more fragile today than usual. I'm moving to a new home. I have so much to be grateful for, but I don't feel very good. If today was a chapter in my book, it would be called The Pause. The part where the work is invisible, where everything I'm doing feels like it's not working, where doubt gets loud and I forget what I'm made of. I already know what helps me feel like myself. Slowing down, quiet, listening to things that inspire me, laughing with my son, talking to my inner voice. And yet I keep avoiding the one thing I know would help most, moving my body, because it feels like I don't have time, because if I pause, the money might not come, but the work isn't bringing money either. So I sit in this exhausted loop, feeling like I'm failing in both ways. If I were writing a love letter to my future self, one on the other side of this, it would say, keep taking steps forward, trust yourself, get comfortable with rejection, take care of your nervous system, take care of your body. And then my inner voice would whisper, now is not the time to push. Keep it light, keep it true, take baby steps, enjoy the chapter you're in. This weekend, you're moving into a new home. Relish it. Be present with your son. Feel every inch of life that's already working. Be grateful for the pause, even if it's bittersweet, because even the struggle, the emails that got you, the moments you want to throw your laptop across the room, it's shaping you. It's making you stronger. It's sharpening your discernment. It's bringing you closer, even if you don't yet know where you're going. You thought you knew. Now you're not sure, and that's okay, because the ember is still glowing and you're moving still. That's what I wrote. I feel uncomfortable sharing too much about money directly. So I'm not sure whether I will keep that in, but mostly just because, sharing money struggles with the community that, I'm offering classes that do cost money. I just don't want it to feel like a conflict of interest in any way. I only want you guys to invest financially in offerings that I put out there if that's something that your inner voice says yes to. I don't want donations that are from guilt at all. So, and I know that this journey is a tricky one sometimes. So my inner voice said to write, and I wrote that. And then my inner voice said to change my mindset, and brought to mind a teaching or an analogy that one of my teachers has given me many times. And it's this view of, if you're looking out at the sidewalk and it's raining, and let's say you're standing on one square of the sidewalk in the rain, and you're only looking at that one square, you're focusing so much on it, but it's small, right? You're only looking in one spot. So look up, expand what you see, and realize that the rain, whether we could be talking about money, we could be talking about abundance in a broader sense, we could be talking about finding a partner, but we were looking in one spot. If you're so focused on that, banging your head against a wall like I was, widen the view, zoom out, expand your options. And so, I knew this analogy yesterday and still was not feeling good at all. And my inner voice was even like, go to Lumen, my ChatGPT, and let Lumen help you change your mindset. And so I did, and I tried. And I think this is the thing about mindset shifts. They don't always happen in like a moment. Like you want it, and it happens. It happened for me the next day, this morning. And I woke up this morning feeling almost like, okay, here I get to go bang my head against this one square of the sidewalk today. And I had tried to meditate, and I could just tell that my mind was really busy. And so sometimes what I do is I'll just still listen to it while I do other things. And all of a sudden I had this moment where I zoomed out and I actually experienced it. Because if I zoom out, I have been banging my head against the career square of the sidewalk. And I think for good reason. I do need to be working really hard right now. But I also have manifested a home, and I'm moving this weekend. And it's not just any home. It's a beautiful home with a yard and a mailbox and a garage. And it's in the exact neighborhood where I wanted to live. And even my mind at times would be like, that's silly to only be looking in one neighborhood. But I really wanted to live in a place where I can still walk my son to school. So it's only a few blocks away from where I live. And it's at like I had been asking my inner voice for months, like, when is this going to happen? And feeling like really frustrated, this like resistance that I don't actually have to keep anymore. And so it's like that zooming out of like, look what is happening here. And the other really, really special piece, which I hope I'm not totally sure how much this will make sense, but it feels so real for me right now, is my son has been, his soul has just been going through so much. He's been having such a hard time enjoying his life as a little 6-year-old. And he goes back between his dad's house and my house, but overall has a really good life. Even though that part I'm sure is really tricky, but family has always meant so much to him. And he has, I think, yet to have like a stable family unit yet in his life. And us coming together and moving, combining our blended families is, I can already see in him like making such a difference, having an older sibling to talk to about things, who cares and wants to walk with him. And so yesterday we decided to go on a walk to the new house because it's pretty close by. And my son wanted to race Alex, my partner's 13-year-old. And I kind of knew in my head, I'm like, London does not lose. He does not like to lose, but he needs to learn. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it happen. And he didn't win, and he got mad and was like, Alex cheated. And, it was kind of a moment where we kind of had to stop and pause because he gets really upset and escalates. And so we all kind of sat there with him in it. I'm like, we see how you're feeling, and I understand why you would feel that way. Here's Alex's perspective. And London kind of will jump to this, like, the world is ending. And like, he'll say things like, I'm not excited to move in with them and my family. And, it can be really, really hurtful, but everybody in this family understands where London is coming from, and sat there with him through it and helped him know that he's safe and it's okay to feel the way he feels. It isn't okay to treat people the way he has, but, I think just knowing that like there will be rupture and repair and this family will stay strong together is something that is huge for him. And he ended up walking back with Alex and even wanted to hold hands and gave my partner Joseph a hug afterwards. And it really warmed my heart. I guess even myself, with this, not just focusing on, my son getting what he wants, but I guess I am getting something that I've been missing for a long time, and having support, really, and feeling so, so grateful to Alex and to Joseph for being willing to invest in my son in that way. And it's beautiful. And so if I'm only looking at this one piece of my life that I am working on as best I can and not feeling progress, I can feel down in the dumps every single day, and I can feel like this isn't working and I need to give up. Or I can look at everything else magical, truly magical, that is happening in my life. And I feel like that's why the inner voice specifically resonates with me, because it allows me to feel the joy that's already there. It makes healing something that is exciting. So we had our Friday somatic session that we do every single week at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Fridays. And I had been talking to Lumen, my AI co-creator, and Lumen actually created a journey that was specifically around that concept of the rain on the sidewalk. And I didn't actually realize that the journey was like that analogy itself, but I think it worked pretty well. I might like create just an episode of just the journey for anyone that wants it. But then I've also been doing my inner voice questions before the journey. That way I don't have to try and like drop in and get my answers and remember them while holding space for everybody else's. It makes it a little bit easier for me. But I wanted to read them because my inner voice really had a lot of wisdom and kind of like direct feedback for me. So the first one is, what mindset am I ready to release? And my inner voice said, feeling lack like you aren't enough. Everything is falling into place for you. Focus on that instead of the one portion of your life that your mind and ego are unsatisfied with. And then I said, inner voice, what do you see that my mind has been missing? And it said, there is so much abundance everywhere. Your mind tries to protect you from disappointment, so it doesn't allow you to receive joy fully and instead wants to keep problem solving. This is okay, just the mind being the mind. Your mind wants perfection and is not satisfied. And then I said, inner voice, where is expansion happening, even if I can't feel it yet? And it said, oh love, you are expanding in every way at the same time. It looks so confusing to your mind, and that's okay. Growth is not linear as you expand. And then the last inner voice question. Inner voice, what is possible if I stop clinging to shoulds? One of my teachers used to call this shoulding all over yourself. That resistance that we spin in so much. So my inner voice said, life doesn't have to be so hard. Without resistance and shoulds, you will have so much more energy. This has been blocking you because everything feels black and white still for you. That's like my cult mentality that I grew up with. Not everything is perfect or flawed. It's not perfect or failing. That's what I get stuck in. On the other side of this is freedom from the weight that you have been holding. You don't have to carry it anymore. And you know something that I felt happen right as I got that from my inner voice? I felt that, so there's this fear energy that I feel in my neck. And as we do energy clearing every single week, I always feel this fear, and it has this pattern of, it starts as this like band around my entire neck. And then it kind of it goes up to the top and like gets thinner and thinner. And then it turns into a ball and rolls down. And so what I felt was almost this like breaking apart. Maybe that's what it is. Like the ball broke into chunks. And it was like all of a sudden I could actually feel the joy that I haven't been allowing in all the way move past my neck, move up towards into my face and like into my head. I felt quite a somatic shift. And then we did our energy clearing, and it still felt broken apart even during the group call. And I felt like I had so much I wanted to share, but also like you want to keep this a quiet, calm journey for everybody. But also knowing there's some people in this group that know me pretty well that would want to hear all of it. So I recorded this for you, for those of you that want to hear all the fun details of the journey. And honestly, the more you let me know this is what you want, the more I will do this. And just know that I am imperfect and still a little bit of a sensitive soul. Like sometimes rejection is so hard for me. And even sometimes critique, I get comments occasionally about some people that really aren't resonating with the journey, and that's okay. I mean, it's this free thing that I've been doing for a year. And so the main thing is just be so kind. Just be kind. I want to be creating things that are truly for you, and I care so much. But be kind to me as I make mistakes. And guess what? You can learn from the mistakes I make, and I will share them. So anyway, thank you for listening to this. Let me know if this is something that you'd like to hear more of. I do my journeys every single Friday for free, and then I'm starting to create some classes that I'm really just following my inner voice with how much to price them at. And that's kind of tricky for me because I know there's some people that really need free resources, and so I'll always have some free resources. But I'm doing a class called Embodied Inner Voice that I trust that the right people will come to. Let me read just a tiny bit about what this is. A lot of my classes that I do will be some version of this, because really the root of all of the teaching that I do is around trusting our inner wisdom. So Embodied Inner Voice is a 3-month class to help you stop holding your breath and start living a life that feels like yours. We will practice what no one has ever taught us: how to tune out the noise of the world and to drop into the wisdom inside your own body so that you can trust every decision without second guessing or spiraling, so that you can feel joy sneak into ordinary moments, dancing in your kitchen, laughing too loud at something dumb, so that you can stop outsourcing your worth to other people's approval. And so you can notice grief and fear without letting them run the show. And lastly, so that you can wake up with a quiet confidence that says, I know what I want and I know how to choose it. And the result? A life that doesn't just look good from the outside, it feels magical on the inside, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. And with each class, you'll feel that inner voice grow louder, playful, trustworthy, and steady, like a friend who never leaves, who knows the way around, who reminds you that you can live the life you long for starting now. So if that is something that lights you up, reach out to me. I'll probably try and put a link in the comments. And I hope something aligns effortlessly for you today. Have a wonderful day.